الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا اللهم بما علمتنا وزدنا اللهم علما وعملا إنك ولي ذلك والقادر عليه. أما بعد، فنواصل درسنا في شرح بلوغ المرام للحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله وغفر الله لنا وله ولسائر المسلمين. وكنا وقفنا في باب الأذان عند الكلام في أذان الفجر. So we're continuing our class in the explanation of Bulugh al-Maram in the chapter of Adhaan in the book of prayer. And last week we started this chapter with the first hadith, which is the famous hadith of the revelation, how the Adhan was legislated, and we mentioned the dreams. The Sahaba, they had the dreams from them. Abdullah ibn Zayd ibn Abdir-Rahman, he had the dream that it should be with the wording that we know. And we mentioned the wisdom in the words, the great meanings of the words, because all the words, if you ponder the meanings in the prayer, adhan, the adhkar al-sabah, adhkar al-masa, يعني كل هذه الأذكار لها معاني عظيمة تؤثر في القلوب اليقظة يعني الحاضرة. If a person says these or adhkar and the recitation of Quran and the prayer with his heart present, it has a great impact upon his life, upon his daily affairs. A person wakes up in the morning and he thinks yani, the meanings of the words when he says yani, he puts his trust in Allah in the beginning of the day is different than a person who doesn't feel that, not just on the tongue, but he feels that Allah is helping him. Nothing's going to harm him. Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama' wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. Person who says that and he really believes that's different. He's on a totally different frame of mind than someone who is just routine, just saying it like a habit, So the great adhan, great meanings, and we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala فضل هذه الأمة بهذا الأذان، فضلها بأمور كثيرة، بل كان اليهود تحسدنا على هذه الأمور. كان كما جاء في الحديث أن اليهود تحسدنا على أمور ثلاثة: الجمعة، وقولنا آمين بعد الصلاة، يعني القبلة، لأن الله من هذه الأمة وهداها إلى هذه الأمور وضل عنها اليهود والآخرون. ومن هذه الأمور الأذان. فإن الله أضل اليهود عنها. اليهود كيف يعلنون لعباداتهم؟ بالنفخ في يعني بالسور، والنصارى بضرب يعني الناقوس. وأما هذه الأمة فإن الله هدانا إلى الأذان. So, for example, we mentioned last time that this is the bounty. This adhan not only is great meanings, but Allah favored this ummah and guided this ummah to the adhan, but He misguided others. The Jews, they also have worship. They call to their worship, but they call by blowing in a horn, okay, which doesn't carry any of these meanings of the Allahu Akbar, great meanings. And the Christians, they call to their worship by hitting a bell, a big bell, but it's just a sound. It doesn't have any meaning beyond that. And the Majus, the fire worshippers, they make a fire to announce to come together to worship. So this is, it has none of these meanings. So next we're going to take, inshallah, زيادة في هذا الحديث في هذه القصة. جاء عند أحمد في قول بلال في أذان الفجر الصلاة خير من النوم. So additional in the Adhaan al-Fajr, there's an additional wording that the Mu'adhin, he says, الصلاة خير من النوم. As we know, this is added in the Adhaan, only in the Fajr Adhaan, not in any other, not Dhuhr, not Asr, not Maghrib, not Isha. So this additional wording, the next hadith tells where it occurs. The next hadith, hadith Anas, قال من السنة إذا قال المؤذن في الفجر هيا على الفلاح قال الصلاة خير من النوم. So when does he say الصلاة خير من النوم? After he says هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح الصلاة خير من النوم الصلاة خير من النوم, and then الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. So that's in the middle or so, towards the end of the adhan. Now there's difference of opinion which adhan. Like we said, there's two adhan in Fajr, right? There's the adhan of Bilal and the adhan of Ibn Maktoum. وجاء في الحديث أن أخذنا الحديث أن بلال قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يغرنكم أذان بلال فإنه يؤذن بليل. She said, do not be deceived, or do not misunderstand the adhan of Bilal, because Bilal makes adhan in the night, meaning the still of the Qiyam al-Layl time, before actual Fajr comes in. يؤذن, why does he make this adhan? يؤذن ليقوم النائم ويتسحر المتسحر فكلوا واشربوا حتى يؤذن ابن مكتوم. Meaning, if a person wants to fast, okay, and he hears the adhan, what's he going to think? Oh, I have to stop eating and drinking. They said, don't be confused, because Bilal is making the adhan, and you can still eat and drink after his adhan, because he's making the adhan for a different purpose, to wake up the sleeping person, and for the person who wants to make suhoor now, he can start his suhoor. He doesn't end his suhoor. No, when does he end his suhoor? With the adhan of Ibn Maktoum, the other mu'adhin of Al-Madinah, because he makes adhan when the Fajr breaks, when the light is there, and now we can pray. With the adhan of Bilal, we can't pray Fajr, but he wakes people up to pray Qiyam al-Layl. So people are sleeping, right? Generally, people are sleeping at night, and then Bilal makes the adhan to wake them up. That's what the hadith says. And also the person who wants to fast, he can now make his suhoor. So what does that indicate to us? When should he say as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm? The adhan of Bilal or the adhan of Ibn Maktoum? There's difference of opinion. Okay, this what is known that Bilal used to, in the other hadith, wake up the sleeping person, indicates that he makes the adhan Bilal, meaning the first adhan, to wake people up. That's why he says, "As-salatu khayru min an-nawm." It's better up. For prayer is better than sleep. All who is sleeping, wake up. For what? For qiyam al-layl, for the night prayer, because it's better than sleep. That's one opinion. That's what the Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah, he understands. Also, the other hadith says, وَإِذَا أذنت بالأول من الصبح فقل الصلاة خير من النوم الصلاة خير من النوم. Another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said it should be in the first adhan. When you make adhan, in the first adhan. Okay? Which is the first adhan? Bilal. Okay? Not the adhan to pray Fajr. This one opinion, based on these evidence. Okay? Other scholars like Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he said no, it's in the second adhan, the one we actually pray Fajr for. Okay? He says when he says the first adhan, it doesn't mean the Bilal, it means the as opposed to the Iqama. Because the Iqama also is adhan, right? In the meaning that it's a call to prayer. So he said, meaning when the hadith said the first adhan, it means the adhan of Ibn Maktoum when Fajr breaks. Okay? But it doesn't explain why people are sleeping. Okay? People should not be sleeping at the time of the adhan for Fajr, right? Because Bilal already woke them up, right? So why should he say when people are already awake, as-salatu khayru min an-nawm? That should be said when people are sleeping, which is in the night prayer time. So that's why that opinion seems to fit, that more with the evidences. But there's different opinion. It's one person makes adhan in this one or that one. It's not going to make a big difference, okay? But the meanings indicate that it should be when the first adhan of Bilal. Yeah, they do. In Muslim countries, they make two adhans. But they usually, common practice is the adhan is made in the second one. Yeah, that's the common practice. But we don't go by common practice, It doesn't mean just by something is common, that means it's right. For example, in many countries, they pray Taraweeh 20 raka'at, okay? Even in Mecca, Medina, in the Haramain, they pray 20 raka'at, but we know the Sunnah is 11. They do it based on weak hadith, based on other reasons, but nonetheless, it's not the correct opinion. Although most people, they pray 20 raka'at, right? But that doesn't mean it's right. Yeah. So anyway, that's in the Adhan of Fajr. We add that wording. Any other questions with that hadith? So we took the wording so far. Now نأتي لحديث الثالث والسبعون بعد المئة. وعن أبي محذورة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم علمه الأذان فذكر فيه الترجيع. أخرجه مسلم. ونعم. So next hadith is the third muadhin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, we know the famous ones, Bilal and Ibn Maktoum. They were in Al-Madinah. There's one in Mecca who made adhan, because there were Muslims in Mecca after Fath Mecca. His name was Abu Mahdura. And he also had a nice voice. So the Prophet ﷺ only picked people who had nice voices because it has an effect on the heart. Whether reciting Quran or listening to adhan, it should be something that has a nice effect. So this hadith, Prophet ﷺ, when he taught Abu Mahdura, he told him to make adhan in a different way. Okay, we notice some worships they have like different forms. من العبادات ما هي متنوعة الصيغ، يأتي تارة هكذا وتارة هكذا. ومن السنة أن يعمل الإنسان بالصيغ كلها، فأحيانا يعمل هكذا وأحيانا يعمل هكذا دون أن يهجر شيئا من السنة. So we have noticed that sometimes in the worships there's different forms. For example, in the Adhaan there's different forms. Okay, we'll mention the different ways to make Adhaan, different wordings actually. But we do the famous one, right? That we took in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Zayd. But the hadith of Abi Mahdura is different. Will come. And this is not unusual. Even if most people don't practice it, we don't see it. Like the qira'at al-sab'ah, al-qira'at al-Quran, the four different recitation of Quran. Although we normally hear Asim, the famous one, there's other ones, that Warsh, people in Africa, they recite, right? Very nice recitation. But we don't maybe see it that much or hear it that much, but that doesn't mean it's not sunnah. It's also sunnah. Also the dua istiftah, when we begin the prayer, we should say a famous one. The one we normally say, Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. No, what's the beginning of the istiftah? What do you say? This is the one most people say, but there's other ones you can say also. So a person can choose. Sometimes say this, and it's better to mix it up so that you don't lose any of the very sunnah, and apply it all and let people learn these things. So, for example, you can say, Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna khataya kama ba'adta bayna al-mashriqi wal maghrib. That where you say the one, oh Allah, distance me from my sins like you distance between the east and the west. Allahumma نقني من خطاياي كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس. اللهم اغسلني من خطاياي بالماء والثلج والبرد. It continues to say about the sins, clean me from my sins, wash me from my sins, and so on. This is another famous one of the dua istiftah. When we say this before the Fatiha, after takbiratul ihram, so a person can say this one prayer, this one another prayer, mix it up. That's the best. Similarly, the adhan, a person should do these different forms, but he shouldn't do it and surprise the people. If he does a different form of adhan, maybe they're gonna say he's doing bid'ah, or they become surprised and maybe they make a commotion. No, don't shock the people. Maybe tell them beforehand, I'm gonna do it a little different, so that we become aware of sunnah, and then go ahead and do it. Likewise, the qira'at. Some people they so keen to practice sunnah, they come and they shock the people. Start reciting in a form of recitation, authentic, right, but people are going to be disturbed in their prayer. They won't have any khushu', because they're going to be correcting him left and right for a place that he didn't do anything wrong. And then they're going to come back afterwards and say, you're never leading again. You see? So what's the point? If there's mafsada, there's some harm, it's better to even leave sunnah. Leave off of sunnah if there's going to be some harm, because it's sunnah. And the mafsada haram. You can't cause fitna for people. That's worse. So for example, we can wear shoes in the masjid, right? We can wear shoes when we pray, right? We're allowed to wear, it's sunnah to wear shoes. So a person learns this sunnah, he walks into the masjid one day with his shoes on. What's going to happen? Will be a problem. So even if his shoes are clean, he checked his shoes properly, they're clean, no problem, he can do it, but he's going to cause a problem, even if his shoes are clean. Because now it's carpeted, okay? Because it's carpeted, it's not the same also. If the masjid was dirt at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, that's different. Everyone's wearing shoes when they're praying. Yeah. Anyways, even then you could say because of the carpet, you shouldn't wear shoes, That's also a problem. Not besides surprising the people, because it's a carpet now. So anyway, so this other adhan of Abu Mahdura, قال علمه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الأذان فذكر فيه الترجيع. So he told him this adhan. He told him to make adhan like this. And it comes explained in a different hadith outside of this book. This hadith is in Muslim in the book. There's another hadith that says it. It's in Abu Dawood with a more explained, detailed wording. He said, علمني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الأذان 19 كلمة. He told me to make the adhan with 19 phrases. Okay? That's different than the adhan. That's longer. How many phrases is the first adhan that we learned, the famous one? إحدى عشرة. No, sorry. It's going to be, okay, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's 4. Usual adhan. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. 15 words. That's in hadith of Bilal, or the teaching of Bilal. This hadith Abu Mahdura 19. So where's the addition? An extra 4 shahada. So we say 4 more ashhadu or 2 more ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, 2 more ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. But you say silently to yourself. You might see this adhan sometime. They'll say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, loud. Then ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Silently to himself. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah twice, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah twice. That's 4. So you add 4 to 15, you get 19. The rest is the same. Loud. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah twice, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah twice, and so on. So that's 19 words. And this sunnah. And this hadith is in Muslim. It's authentic hadith, of course. So the rest is the same. And likewise, we'll come to the iqamah. If you're going to make this adhan of Abu Mahdura, you make the iqamah of Abu Mahdura. You could. The sunnah of iqamah of Abu Mahdura is also different. It has additional words. Okay? The iqamah has how many? 17 words, 17 sentences. 19 for the adhan, 17. So what do? In iqamah, whereas the regular iqamah is just like 9, I think. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala al-falah. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. 11, sorry. 11. That's the adhan of Bilal, the common one we heard. The iqamah, sorry. The iqamah of Bilal. Iqamah of Abu Mahdura has 17. 17. So it's doubled where Bilal's are singles. So Bilal was taught to make singles, and where the adhan was doubled. Abu Mahdura was not. He said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Iqamah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala al-falah, hayya ala al-falah. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. 17. So he's making doubles where Bilal made singles. And that's also, if you hear that, don't be surprised. For the iqamah, that's also in the that was hadith authentic. Yeah, he told him to say that in Mecca. He is in Mecca. And he told Bilal in Medina to do it different way. We don't know why, but like we said, some qira'at, the recitations are different. It doesn't have to do with this place or that, but so people can have variety of worship. It's a variety. We don't know the wisdom necessarily, but it's a way for us to apply different kinds of sunnah. And there's nothing wrong. You can even make in the sujood different adhkar, ruku' different, and so on. And so It's just a way for people to have variety. But the point is that we should not be surprised if we hear this form or that form. So that's the Abu Mahdura. Uh, Next hadith. Also, the Shaykh mentioned there's a bid'ah. Some people, the muaddin, they makes after the adhan is done. Then he says, "Wassalatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah," on the microphone. Okay, and he does it every time. This is not the place for it, right? To make this as a habit, as like a worship, this is bid'ah. This adding to the worship. It's just like a person that says after every prayer, he says, "Taqabbalallah," you know, Salam rahmatullah. After every prayer, he turns to the right, "Taqabbalallah, taqabbalallah." That's the bid'ah, you know. لو كان خيرا لسبقونا إليه. Anything the person comes and says, "This is good," we say, if it was good, what you're doing, Sahaba would have done it before. Because they're the most knowledgeable of the Ummah after the messengers. Or the Prophet ﷺ would have taught us because he's, received revelation. So who are we to say it's good? Same way you can say Mawlid, like they do these days. The Mawlid, لو كان خيرا لسبقونا إليه. If it was something good to celebrate the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, they would have done it a long time ago, meaning the Sahaba. Because no one knew more or loved the Prophet ﷺ more than the Sahaba. Well, they loved him. They sacrificed for him. They put their lives and their wealth in danger for him. So you don't think that they would celebrate the birthday if it was to be done? They would have. But because they didn't, it was not good. It's no good to do. So this next hadith الرابع والسبعون بعد المئة, حديث أنس رضي الله عنه قال أمر بلال أن يشفع الأذان ويوتر الإقامة إلا الإقامة, يعني إلا قوله قد قامت الصلاة, متفق عليه. Next hadith explaining more what we already said, but the evidence. Bilal, he was ordered by the Prophet ﷺ to make the adhan in even numbers, meaning there's nothing odd except for the end, La ilaha illallah. Everything else is even, right? The majority of the adhan of Bilal is even, in even takbir, even shahadatain, even what they call hayya al-atan, هي علتان, the هي على الصلاة, هي على الفلاح, they call هي علتان, even, only at the takbir again, tushfa, again in the end, 2 times Allahu Akbar, even, and then only at the end, La ilaha illallah. And he said, but he was ordered to make the iqama witr, meaning most of the wordings of the iqama are even. In the adhan of iqama of Bilal, Allahu Akbar, that's the exception. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah once, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah once, Hayya ala salah twice, the exception. Hayya ala once, Hayya ala salah once, Hayya ala falah once, Iqamat, and the takbir. The takbir in the beginning, takbir in the end, Iqama, but everything else is one. So this is the Iqama of Bilal. So this is I suppose different from the iqama of Abu Mahdura, but that's what it means when he said make it even and odd for the iqama. And also, when we say in the iqama, قد قامت الصلاة, or why do we say in the iqama, hayya ala salah? Because people are generally already gathered. We say in the adhan because people are far. يعني منادات البعيد, people are out in the market, at home, so you want them to come to the masjid. Okay, it makes sense, physically come to the masjid. Well, why the iqama hayya ala salah? Now hayya ala salah الآن بقلوبكم, أقبلوا بقلوبكم على الصلاة كما كنتم حاضرين بأبدانكم. He said now is for our hearts to become now focused. Hayya ala salah with your hearts. The adhan was hayya ala salah with your bodies, physically. Now it's spiritually. Come to the prayer in the iqamah with your heart. And then we said, qad qamat salah, it means now the prayer is established. Now we're going to pray. بقي سؤال: هل يشرع للمأموم أن يقوم إذا كان جالسا حين أن يشرع المؤذن في الإقامة، أي في متى يقوم المأموم للصلاة؟ في بداية الإقامة أم في قوله حي على الصلاة، أو في قوله قد قامت الصلاة، أو في قوله يعني تكبيرة الإحرام؟ فيه خلاف، ولكن الظاهر أن فيه سعة. وثبت في الحديث أنه لا يقوم حتى يرى الإمام مقبل على الصلاة. لا يقوم، لا يقومن أحدكم حتى يرى الإمام قد جاء ليصلي. So when should the question is, when does a person who's sitting in the masjid stand up for the prayer? Obviously, it's going to be around the iqamah time, but some difference of opinion. Should he stand at the beginning of the iqamah? Should he stand up in the middle when he says hayya ala salah? When he says iqamah qad qamat as-salah? When should he stand? There's no specific hadith to indicate this or that. There's only the hadith that he should not stand up and start lining up for prayer until he sees the imam coming to pray. Okay? Because what mistakes some people they do, they are waiting in the masjid for the imam and they already start lining up, or they're already standing, and they're just tiring themselves out. And the goy it's not the sunnah is he should wait, read Quran, relax, maybe make some nafil prayer. That's fine. But to stand there waiting impatiently, that's not sunnah. It's not respectful. Also, when the imam comes in and starts to get ready for towards the prayer, then we stand up. And so this is also from the sunnah. Okay, so then. And we notice also between the adhan and the iqamah, whether you do either of the two ways, Abu Mahdura or Bilal, the adhan has more wordings than the iqamah. Okay? Always the adhan has more, longer, and this is from the wisdom. هذا من مراعاة الحال في التشريع والمناسبة في المقام. This is from the appropriateness of the Sharia. The Sharia is not only has nice wordings, but everything is in its proper place. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put everything in a proper place. Like for example, in the adhan, okay, it should be more words, right? Because you're calling people from far. Yeah? فيه يعني منادات البعيد فيكون فيه كثرة الكلمة ويكون فيه أيضا الترسل ومد الصوت حتى ينادي البعيد، بخلاف الإقامة فالناس حاضرون فلا يحتاج إلى تطويل، يحتاج إلى اختصار. فليس هناك ترسل ورفع الصوت، هذا في الأذان. في الأذان رفع الصوت، وفي الإقامة يكون على العكس. So you see that there's difference. For example, we said the appropriateness in the adhan. When you're calling the far person, there's many words, more wording, more longer wording. Also, extension of the voice, as they do correctly. All they extend their voice in the adhan, so it gives the people time to come. Maybe if someone doesn't hear the first part of the adhan, so the adhan is like a few minutes long. So that maybe they'll hear the last part of the adhan. If he makes the adhan like the iqamah, wraps it up, a few quick phrases, maybe someone missed it. He was, asleep. Maybe he didn't wake up in time. He missed it, the adhan, because you made it like the iqamah. It should be no different. It should be also louder on the microphone or loud voice, outside the masjid. Iqamah is not supposed to be loud. Now everyone, they're both on the microphone, which is fine. But at that, generally, it's not with a loud voice, the iqama. And it's fewer words, and it is not extended in the phrases. Short, concise. Just like talking, the iqama. Yeah.
Do we know how in narration that they extended it like love of the law or anything like that? How they would say it?
It would be, extended, but not overly extended to change the wordings, you know. But it's supposed to be. I'm not sure of the. He didn't. Sheikh didn't mention the hadith here about how it was extended, but he said it should be. Uh, he didn't mention the evidence for it, but it's going to be extended somewhat. Not too much, but somewhat more. Definitely different than the iqama. Iqama is just like talk, okay, as you know. And then when you raise your voice, you're going to naturally extend. You're raising your voice and you're making it, expansive. You're going to extend by naturally. Yeah.
And also when you say Allah Akbar, is that the same thing? When they pause between each Allah Akbar?
No, it should not pause. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. No, it should be Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, connected. It shouldn't be Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. As far as I know, they come as unit. They should not be separate. And when it comes to the appropriateness of the legislation, this is for this condition, and this wording is for that condition, like say Adhaan versus Iqama. We find that in many legislations, in the prayer, for example. In the prayer, صلاة يعني للمقيم 4 ركعات لأنه مقيم فهو في ساعة بخلاف المسافر فيشرع له قصر والجمع. For example, the one who's praying in his residence, he prays 4 ركعات ظهر asr isha, but it's shortened for the traveler. You see, just like adhan, iqama, prayer for the resident, prayer for the traveler. Everything's fit in a perfect place. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His wisdom, from His magnificent wisdom. Also, when it comes to, you could say from the تدريج في تحريم الخمر مثلا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to how He prohibited the alcohol, على مراحل. When first of all He said, it's better not to. Yeah. ولا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. Then He said ويسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما منافع للناس فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما. Here now it's saying, no, generally it's more harm than good. Alcohol, it's better to leave it because it's more harmful than there's benefit. There's benefit, but it's not as much as the harm. Then after that He said, leave it. Leave it altogether. فَأَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. Leave it. So this is based upon the people, how they've been, connected to the alcohol. This is a common practice. People are used to it. اعتادوا شرب الخمر وألفوها فكان من الحكمة أن الله لا يحرمها فورا بل على المراحل. This is from the vast wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also we mentioned we mentioned the seerah class, how the legislations, even the arkan al-Islam, as-salah, as-sawm, they were legislated later, much later. Only there was tawheed for maybe 12 years. Out of 23 years of wahi, the majority of it, 12 years, there was no prayer, obligatory, no fasting, no zakah, no hajj. Right? To get the hearts prepared for these legislation. Okay, so it's very appropriate in the beginning of Islam, only tawheed, only aqidah, so that the hearts are prepared now. When the hearts become strong, and ويغرس في الإيمان فهم يعني في القلوب يعني أهلا لقبول الشرائع. They become like readied, muhayya, prepared, likewise you do any form. We know this from teaching.
We prime.
Primed, yes. We're primed for these things. We do this, when it comes to even teaching children or as teachers. They don't immediately, first day back from school, start them, with the hard work. No, they get them ready for it, prepare them, prime them, and so on. So this is from the wisdom. And also, yeah, okay, we'll take inshallah one more hadith. حديث الخامس والسبعون بعد المئة عن عون بن أبي جحيفة رضي الله عنه قال رأيت بلالا يؤذن وأتتبع فاه ها هنا وها هنا وإصبعاه في أذنيه رواه أحمد والترمذي وصححه ولابن ماجه وجعل إصبعيه في أذنيه ولأبي داود لوى عنقه لما بلغ حي على الصلاة يمينا وشمالا ولم يستدر. So this is now the form, the physical form. We talked about the wordings of the iqama, the adhan. Now what is the physically? What should the muaddin be doing? It's established in this authentic hadith that the Sahabi said he saw Bilal when he made the adhan, and he said, I watched him carefully to learn, how to do it. And I watched his mouth, here and there. I watched his mouth, meaning I was looking carefully to his mouth, what he was doing. And his fingers were in his ears. So this is established in this hadith. As-sabbabatan, which two fingers? The pointer fingers. Okay? In the ears. Okay? And in one narration he said, I watched his mouth, meaning, and he watched his neck, would extend his neck to the right and the left. Where? On the hayya alatan, hayya al salah, hayya al falah. So how should he do the hayya al salah, hayya al falah? There's a different opinion, but generally he should, to get there are no microphones back then, right? So to get the voice to all the surroundings, you should do both. You should say hayya ala salah, right and left, both. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. So you get or sort of surround sound, you could say, surround sound naturally. Okay, this is one opinion. It makes sense. Yaminan wa shimalan, as in the wording, right and left, without specifying. Some people they do hayya ala salah only on the right. Okay. And hayya al falah only on the left, but that there's no indication to that in the hadith. Rather, you want that to be shared across to all the listeners, both phrases. And as far as putting the fingers in the ears, that's the benefit also from the wisdom of the Sharia. لأن هذا فيه رفع الصوت. When the person puts his fingers in his ears, the Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, he said that causes his voice to become louder. Okay. And that's physics. That's something known. People arrive to this knowledge now, but they had that knowledge. Obviously, this was also known. And also, a person. What if كان السامع أصم أو ضعيف أو بعيد؟ كيف يعرف أن هذا مؤذن؟ بهيئته. لما رأى إنسان إصبعاه في أذنيه يعلم أنه يؤذن وإن لم يسمع صوتا. Also, a person, if he's making adhan, a person is far away. He can't hear him, but just looking at him in this position, this is the position of adhan, and he's going to come. Okay, even if he's deaf. Some people are deaf. How is he going to? He's benefited by this form that the muaddin does, even if he can't hear a word, and has that benefit.
So just to clarify, you said that's not both sides.
Yeah, that's one opinion. But this is not a big deal. If he wants to do, one side, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. I mean, it's not clearly obvious, but some scholars say it should be to both sides. But only the neck. يلتفت بعنقه. وجاء في الرواية لوى عنقه. He turned his neck. Okay? يلتفت, but only with his neck. Meaning he should not go and turn his chest. Okay. Lam yastadir, because the hadith say he did not turn. He did not turn. So some people they do that. They turn with their whole body, right and left, for the hayya al salah, hayya al falah. But the wording says no, only with his neck. Bilal did. Okay. So if you want to do that, do it with the neck only.
Is that because you have to face the Qibla?
It could be, yeah, like in the. It could be like in the prayer. If we turn away from the qibla, for salatu batil. If we turn with our body away from the general qibla, then our prayer is invalid because now we've lost the shart. من شروط الصلاة استقبال القبلة. We've lost a condition for the prayer. But we can turn, يعني, for some reason, well, we can look for with our eyes for some need. If there's a need, we can look here and there. If only if there's a need, and our prayer is correct. You know, and if there's a need, a person may even have to turn his head, but only if there's need, obviously. But he should not turn his whole body. If he has to turn his whole body, he has to leave the prayer. Okay, khalas. Leave the prayer and start again. No problem if there's some danger or something. Um, so, yeah, so that's the main benefit from that hadith. Uh, yeah, any questions on what we took so far? So, inshallah, I think we'll continue for the next class with the rest of the chapter. نكتفي بهذا القدر. والله تعالى أعلى وأعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وجزاكم الله خيرا أجمعين.